Mhm. Okay, I hope that's okay that we're recording. First of all, just give me a thumbs up if one person hears me or anything. There we go. Great. A couple people have, well, we all booked off Tuesday. Not everyone booked off Friday morning. So there's some people that have some meetings. So we're just going to record this because they asked if we could send it. It looks like we don't need to have permission for people to come in, so I don't need anyone to man that. And if I could just ask someone a big favor, I'm going to do it now myself. But if someone can just keep an eye open, I'm sorry for all the messages. If there's another way, you'll let me know on the WhatsApp just for the sign in. I just want to make sure if anybody happens to click in over the next couple of minutes, if someone can just repost the login information so that they can get on, someone can manage that. That would be awesome. Thank you. Let's just wait a couple minutes. Even after like 2 years of COVID, I'm still not comfortable with the preamble of Zoom when you're waiting to start, because it's not like, hey, how you doing? Call each person by name. And so
Rabbi, can I say something for a second? Rabbi?
I see a face now. Elon, are you good on WhatsApp? Raquel? I see another person just signed, two more people signed up on the thing. Can you just repost the login information on the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, I'll try. I'm not the best, but I'll try.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I'll try
I
that.
can't hear you. Maybe my volume's off. Oh, if anyone's been talking, hold on. There, try again now. Elon?
Yeah, I'll try to do it. I'm not the best with it, but I'll do it now.
Well, let's see if you can do it.
Rabbi, can I say something for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Steady Justin, you got a shout out in the Bible in the Shabbos from the president.
From the president. Who's the president of
Craig
Craig Gutman?
He writes a blurb every Shabbos, so you got a prominent paragraph in the blurb of the Shabbos.
Honored. I'd love to see. I'm sure. Well, like with anything, whenever you have in-laws or parents somewhere, you're sure to get a message about that shortly. So I'm sure it's in the shortcoming. Thank you for the heads up. So this way I know. I get in trouble with my parents when I don't tell them what's going on, or they don't get the clippings in the photo album.
Right.
Thanks, Doc. All right, Elon, I don't know if that was you. Yeah, it was you. So you're on it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll just wait a couple more minutes. Let me see how many people are in the group. Okay, there's about 67. So let's, with your permission, start at 9:50 sharp. I might have to speak a little faster. It's recorded, so it's not the end of the world. I'm curious on the recording whether or not you can like trim the fat of this preamble. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Rabbi, we can edit it. Don't worry.
Awesome. You're the best. That must be Rachel.
It is.
Thank you so much.
Unless you want to keep this part. I'm enjoying it, but we can edit it.
Yeah, can you at least cut off the part where I'm rubbing my left eye? That's awkward. Yeah, amazing. Honestly, amazing. Thank you. Right. Okay, knowing that's recorded and that I'm sure people have schedules. Okay, so let's 9:48. I said 9:50. Okay, let's start. 44 people. Well, we can send it around. All right. So first of all, thanks so much for making the time. It's funny, no matter how much, you don't have to do it now, honestly, but how much you say, hey, let's all put our faces on. People just have that uncovered or they're doing other things. So, but those are the faces that I can see, those names. Okay, all that's going to get trimmed from the fat. Let's begin. So first of all, I took the poll and I made an executive decision. Partially because there's something to learn from everything, and everybody's talking about the world situation, of course. And maybe the truth is, it's funny because some people are saying, regardless of this in Federation, like maybe we'll do a Zoom learning thing, and maybe we'll just keep this slot and other people will join, because I think there's so much in general, and the idea of sort of 15 minutes either to end the week or beginning of the week has so much value, because the general situation of how do we make any sense of that and get strength. But I think we're in a unique situation where there was something that happened, and like I posted last night, like last night when I posted that, at that time, like none of this was even in existence. So what happened in the course of a week, which was pretty crazy, I'm always a big believer that there's something to learn from it. And I think there's a lot to learn from it. And like I originally pointed out, I said, maybe we'll just mention 5 takeaways, and I'm sure there are more. But I'll tell you the 5 that somehow quickly rose to the top for me. The number one is, everybody always asks, and as you can imagine, that moment of getting out of Mincha Mariv on Monday evening, when I turn my phone off, come back to a message from Sandy and Ben, both frantically WhatsApping me saying, Rabbi, you got to call us. It's an emergency. And opening up that phone call and being told that the flights were canceled. You have to imagine that one of the first questions that went through my mind was like, Lama, like, I don't understand, God, why are you doing this? Again, in our small container of what's happening in the global world, let's be honest, we all know, like, boohoo, like, big deal. But at the moment, at least for me, and I'm sure for many people, it was a big deal. Having the responsibility of over 330 people, $270,000, and logistics, and spending time and knowing people canceled. I'm like, I understand, God, like, why did you do this to me? Like, this is, and then all the other aspects of emotions that were running through. What grounded me after being knocked down, to be honest, it's kind of like when you get punched in the gut. If you know you're going to get punched in the gut, you're like, I got this. When you don't know the punch is coming, you're winded. So I got winded. My emunah and bitachon was not strong enough to say I can handle this. And I was winded for 5 minutes. I slumped in my chair and I felt like that's it. I didn't want to step out of the office. I was in the shul office at the time because I just didn't want to, I didn't want to face anybody. I was just, but we're taught by Rav Hirsch that the word lama, as we know that Hebrew doesn't have vowels. There's no Vanna White, for those who remember that Wheel of Fortune game. If that's still on, I'm not sure. So lama could also be read, Rav Hirsch said, as lama. For what? For what purpose? Meaning when anything happens that a door closes, right? If we believe it doesn't close and, oh my gosh, that was bad. It means, okay, why did this happen? Not why do I know the reason, but what am I supposed to do now? For what purpose? Right? Now, again, I want to be very clear, and this is a much different discussion. It doesn't explain. In our context, it's not a big deal, but in tragedy, it doesn't explain. I kid you not, about 20 minutes ago, I got a voice note from a friend of mine who said a friend of ours, a collective friend, got into a car accident in Eretz Yisrael. He's in ICU. Literally 20 minutes ago, I got this message. I called Alana, asked I sent a message, a WhatsApp. She sent back, she said, listen, Baruch Hashem, he's no brain injury. Baruch Hashem, he's conscious. It's going to be a long road, but we know that we're going to come together and we're going to daven and whatever. There's no explanation of why that happens, but she says we're going to be stronger as a result of this, and we're supported. So we're not going to answer the why do things happen, because we don't have that answer. But we know that while we don't have that answer, we know that we're supposed to do something. While I don't know why, the children of the MAD, M-A-D-D, mothers, why that happened, I know their response. While we don't know why, when things happened in Eretz Yisrael, I think Racheli Frankel, who spoke about this, with their own kids that were captured and murdered. She didn't focus on that. What's the reason? She focused on what can we do for Klal Yisrael. It takes tremendous strength and emunah to have that. And again, we're talking in a very contextual size. It's a lot easier in our situation. God, why did this happen? I don't know. What purpose? And when you think, what's the purpose? You quickly go into, okay, what do I do now mode, not why do I give up mode? So that's number one. We never ask lama. We don't always get those answers. Sometimes we do. We always have to ask lama. Why'd you close this door? What is supposed to happen next? That's one. I think we said we're going to share 5. Number 2 is that at the end of the day, all we can do as Jewish people is try. That's what we're here to do, is to try. We have a principle, right? That anu amelim v'heim amelim, that we say at the end when a person finishes a tractate of Talmud, they say, we work and they work. Anu amelim, we work u'mekablim sachar, and we get rewarded. Heim amelim, they work out there in the world, ve'ena mekablim sachar, they don't get rewarded. Our sages explain, what does that mean? It means in Judaism, your accomplishments aren't what's rewarded. It's your effort that's rewarded. What really matters is whether or not you tried. We have a principle of Akobi de Shemaim. Everything that happens is out of our hands. Chutz me'yira Shemaim. Just what do I say? You know, Hashem, what do you want from me? And what can I do? That's all I'm judged. If it works or it doesn't work out. And that's why I felt so blessed in this situation, to be honest. And I think the people on this Zoom and those that aren't were so special. You know, usually when you deal with the Jewish community and something goes a little bit wrong, you get a lot of WhatsApp complaints. And for some reason, like everybody, except for one or two, there's always one or two, but everybody sent things. Thank you for trying so hard. And it means so much. And I'm sorry it didn't work out. And you must feel so bad. It was so special. But because I think we're surrounded by people who understand this idea that it's our effort that makes a difference. They actually tell a great story. I apologize. Things pop into my head. If we go 5 minutes over, I hope you'll forgive me. But there's a story of somebody who was sitting there and he was in a class and there was a great rabbi that was asking questions. And every time you got the answer to the question right, he would give them a candy, go to the next person. One individual tried to answer the question, got it wrong. Tried to answer it again, got it wrong. Tried to answer it again 3 times, got it wrong. And the rabbi had to move on and whatever. And after class, everybody's getting their 1 candy. He pulls the person aside. He gives them 3 candies. He says, why 3 candies? He said, because they all tried once, but you tried 3 times. So I think that's the third part of this. The third part is, number 1 is, right, we don't know why. Number 2 is, we've got to try. Number 3 is, but we've really got to try. Meaning after it canceled the first time, and we're like, oh man, we're like, okay, so like, what can we try to do? And I can't begin to tell you how Ben, Cindy, Simi, and Whitney, honestly, I was just like, I'm like, here's an idea, but like, I wouldn't have known anything of what to do, what we got ourselves into. That's Jewish history. Jewish people didn't know how to build a country, but they said, I don't know, we got to build a country, right? So we don't always know what we're getting into, but we know that we're flanked by people that will come to the fore. After that first one, they're like, well, wait, we can pivot. We can try something else. You don't even know this, but actually before the charter flight that we announced on Thursday, I'd called a different company. And I thought that company would be the one to do it. I actually was involved in a levaya all day. When I got to my phone after that, this was on Wednesday, they said, sorry, we don't have any planes available anymore. I'm like, oh, come on. And somebody sent a message to me saying, hey, Rabbi, you tried. I said, yeah, I guess that's all that matters. But I guess if that's all that matters, why don't I try again? If the best case scenario is we get a flight, the worst case scenario is at least I tried again and I showed, somebody that I cared enough. So number 3 is you gotta keep trying. You know, there's a principle in Mishlei. It's called Tzadik Yipol Sheva Pamim V'Kam. A righteous person falls down 7 times and keeps getting back up. Right? That's what it means to be strong. That's what it means to be righteous. It's not that you get it right the first time. It's you keep trying. And when you keep trying, amazing things happen. So that's number 3, I think. Number 4 is, I believe that the bigger the fall, the greater the growth and the breakthrough that could happen. We see this throughout all of Jewish history. We saw it after, and again, remember, we're not discussing why do bad things happen to good people. We can discuss that perhaps maybe a little bit another time. But assuming bad things happen for a reason that we don't understand, none of us can deny the fact that after our lowest moment in Jewish history in 1945, the last thing that any betting person would have expected that in 1948 we'd have our own country after 2,000 years of exile. No one could have imagined that after the darkest period of division in the Jewish people on October 6th, no one could imagine our people ever coming together again. Again, I'm not saying, never quote a rabbi out of context on this. I'm not saying the reason why that happened is so that we can. I don't have a direct line to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to God. I do know what our tradition teaches us, not lama, but lama. One cannot deny that the greatest breakthrough of Achdus that happened to the Jewish people after our lowest point of being together was the switch from October 6th to October 7th, right? Putting this pain aside, if the Jews could always live with the way that we were on October 8th, right? How we felt about every single Jewish person, right? So sometimes when we have the lowest of falls, we have to realize there's something greater that has to come from this. There has to be something greater that comes from this. And I think that's what we saw in our situation as well, right? From this plane being canceled, and again, maybe this part can get edited out. As much as I really wanted to go to the rally, I wasn't looking forward to standing for 3.5 hours listening to 23 politicians speak about the same thing over and over again. I kind of like sitting at tables, having something to nosh and turning off the video and talking over it once in a while when I wanted to. Again, the rally was important. We all wanted to go, but like, I'm not like, I don't have that image of 300,000 people sitting in them. And please God, we'll have a lot more soon in our days with everyone together in Yerushalayim. But at the end of the day, what we pivoted to as a team and created something where I think I felt something in our community that I never felt, that wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for us. We had Israeli families that came that wouldn't have had that place to be able to celebrate. And I remember I was just telling someone, there's someone who reached out from some media outlet about the story. They said they heard the flights were canceled. They said, I'm only willing to go down the story of, yeah, it was all the hand of God and it's the best thing that happened to us. And I'll tell you what we did, not, oh, so sad and it must be anti-Semitism. But the truth is what we created was unbelievable. And then the fact that from that experience of saying we're going to sit there and be with Israel, now we will all remember this day of the march, of the rally. None of us will forget our involvement in it. But what we're going to have is something unique. We're going to remember that as a result of this, we also sat there, please God, and sent an ambulance that's going to save lives for the rest of Jewish history, because what we decided to do, to be with Israel, as opposed to that one day, doesn't mean other people, what they did by going was wrong. It's great that they went. But we have something really unique that we just created, right? And that's only because correct me if I'm wrong, if I would have reached out to all of you, all 330 people that most of I don't know, I'd be like, hey, you know what? Lipner's thinking of buying an ambulance. You want to join in? We can do that together. I'd be like, it would probably be like, there's so many, and there are so many causes and there's so many wonderful things. But I think that we actually did something that we're going to remember for a long time and tell, please God, our children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren about what we did. I think it's amazing. And it only happened because it was like, uh-oh, we're in big trouble. And as opposed to giving up, we said, you know what, there's got to be something we can do. So that's point number 4. And then point number 5, which I think is really important and something that I learned through this process as well. How are we doing on time? 10 o'clock, not so bad. We started 5 minutes later, so I get 5 minutes. And if there's anything in the chat, I haven't looked at it yet. But I think the last part is there's a beautiful line in Mishle. It says, Kamayim apanim lapanim kain lev ha'adam la'adam. That just like the face of a person in water is a reflection, meaning when you look in a mirror, you see what you put out in the mirror. So too, as it says, is the hearts of people to people. That I think what we saw was a lot of genuineness, a lot of positivity, a lot of kindness. And I think when you put that out, I think it comes back to you in that way. It means this could have gone in many different ways. If people were petty, if people were upset, if people were, nitpicky, if people were whatever, then it would have created an energy, because what we put out there is what comes back to us, right? I can't frown at a mirror and expect to get a smile back. You might get a fake smile from the person you're speaking to, but we all know that we can see fake smile. We understand what sort of outer, sort of this is the way we have to act, and what's inner and authentic. And I think the 5th lesson that at least I pull away from all this is when you're surrounded by individuals who put out kindness and positivity and goodness, what shines back at us, I think, is that exact same thing as well. And again, just to recap, even though you can listen to it again, I think point number 1, there's many more. We could probably be going for months on the lessons that are learned from this, because there's 3 more that just popped into my head. We're going to cut it off at 5. Number 1 is not lama, why did this happen? I think we can all agree lama, what did we do as a result of it, was unbelievable. I think we understand that all we can do is try, and I think we take that into all of our lives. And I'll give you an example. Honestly, I'll give you an example that happened last night as a result of this. There's someone who, their kid can't get into a school. They reached out to me. They said they're having issues. Do I know anyone? They said nothing can be done. I'm like, something's got to be done. I sent an email to somebody. They said, great, they're going to be in touch with the family. I said, listen, we don't know the result, but had you not reached out, like there would have been a kid who's in public school because they didn't get into a Jewish day school. I said, I don't know what'll happen, but I know that we can try. That's all we can do. And then if it doesn't work out, I know that we can try again. That's point number 3. Point number 4 is, if it seems like it's impossible and it's the biggest challenge you faced, know that what it means is something great is going to be born. I won't go into details, but our deeper sources teach us, for those that are female on this Zoom, right? That's what birth is all about, right? The greater the pain, again, I can't even talk about this. I'm a guy who, what do I have to say? And there's epidural, so I won't even get into anything. But we know that giving birth takes pain, but it's the pain that gives the birth to great things. That's not just a physical reality, that's a deep spiritual reality. And then finally, we realize that the more we put this kind of positivity and goodness out there in the world to each other, I think the more people give it back. I mean, you have a lot of good, happy Jewish people. Good, happy, united Jewish people do lots of amazing things. So that's 15 minutes because we started 3 minutes late. I can check the chat very quickly. If I know how to check the chat. Is there a chat? I'm not even sure. Yeah, there is. Where do I get? There we go. This can also be edited out. If that's, let me see if there's anything important. I'm posting already. Please turn off the music. Please mute everyone but the rabbi. That would have been bad if you muted me. I guess that would have been a useless 15 minutes. Yeah, really proud of everything. And maybe on the chat, just go back. Maybe like This is awesome. I would love maybe next week we'll do another 15 minutes, but we'll do it on the global situation. I know that there's other people. I don't think it has to be just our group. I know there's a lot of people that are going through the like, how do we find some grounding and sense? And one of the beautiful things about our tradition is that's what it's for. It's for understanding how to navigate not just the good things and the simchas in life, but even more so to understand how to navigate the challenging sides, because great things come from that. And as I'm saying that, I already know what we're going to do next Friday. I've got to teach you an awesome insight into 4 words, which are going to blow your mind. So we'll leave you with that one. If anybody has any questions, feel free to send them over. I feel like when you turn these into discussions, they get all sort of like messy and whatever, but one-on-one, happy to send me a voice note. Thank you for making the time, and wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos, Rabbi.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Shabbos.
Yeah, Rabbi.
Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Matityahu.
One day.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
Lots of love from over here.
All right. Good Shabbos. Good
Shabbos, and thank you.
Maddie, thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Yes. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That looks like Maddie's mouth moving on that
Thank
one.
you.
Thank you, Maddie. Shabbos the first. Shabbos Shalom. David. Great. Okay. I always feel it's rude for me to leave before anyone else. So I'll just wait.
You got to be the last one.
I don't have all day, but I'll hang around.
No, okay, take care. I'm going.
All right. Have a good Shabbos, my friends.
Shabbos.
Rabbi, where can I find the recording for my friends who couldn't be here for the live?
That's an awesome question. So the box that said UJA, I'm going to ask her afterwards, and then I'll see if I can send it over. So thanks for asking that question. That was you, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to post that. There's some people who wanted it, so rather than individually posting it, I might just post it on the group chat.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
No.
Shabbos Leah, good Shabbos Eva, good Shabbos Ariella, good Shabbos Ari, good Shabbos 416-274-8461. Shabbos Elise. All right. I'm going to jump off because I got a 10:15. Let's figure out how to do that. Where do I leave? End.